A long, long time ago, when caravans journeyed through the dusty roads of Baghdad and the desert winds carried tales, there was a small village nestled in the heart of the desert, not far from Baghdad. Its name was Al-Nur. This village was well known for its honesty, honor, and wisdom. The lives of the villagers were simple, but their hearts held deep questions and dreams. Our story begins in this village, with the journey of a young man who sought to uncover the mysteries of time and fate. His journey would teach not only him, but all of us profound lessons about life. A young man named Yasir lived in this village. Yasir's thoughts and understanding were as deep as those of a wise elder. He often spent time with his father, Hazrat Idris bin Nur, who was one of the respected elders of the village. One day, Yasir was sitting with his father. A hot wind was blowing, and the clouds rumbled in the sky. Yasir said to his father, "Father, can time change a person's destiny?" Idris looked at his son and remained silent for a moment. Then he said, "My son, that is not a small question, but a very big one. And how old are you to be asking such things?" Idris continued, "Time and fate are both given by God, but their relationship is also tied to human actions." With that, Idris asked his son, "Why do you ask such a question, my son?" Yasir took a deep breath and said, "I have seen many in our village who work hard but receive no reward. Then there are others who become wealthy without doing anything. Is this fate, or does time favor some?" Idris smiled faintly. In a gentle tone, he said, "Son, your quest has begun. When someone asks such a question, they are either discontent or searching for a path." Idris then advised his son to go towards the desert oasis, where a wise old man named Hakim Ali lived. It was said that Hakim Ali was not only an ocean of knowledge, but also knew the secret to unraveling the knots of time and fate. The next morning, Yasir began his journey. With a few necessary provisions on his camel and 1,000 questions in his heart, he set off toward the wise old man. He met many caravans along the way. From some he took water, from others he asked for directions, but he did not speak of his questions to anyone. His heart told him that the answer lay only with the wise man his father had spoken of. On the fourth night, Yasir stopped in a valley. The night was silent and a cool breeze was blowing. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. He was startled. Yasir called out, "Who's there?" Then, a stranger appeared before him. He was tall. His face was covered and he held a strange staff in his hand. The stranger asked, "You are Yasir, are you not?" Frightened, Yasir replied, "Yes, I am Yasir, but who are you?" The man said mysteriously, "I am the one whom time has sent and fate has chosen to ease your path." Yasir asked in astonishment, "What does that mean?" The stranger said, "You must go to Hakim Ali, but you cannot reach him until you pass 3 tests. These 3 tests are connected to the questions within you." Before Yasir could say anything, the stranger struck his staff on the ground and smoke billowed all around. When the smoke cleared, Yasir found himself in a strange place. There was no valley, no camel, no belongings. He was standing in a narrow alley where the people looked distressed and sad. An old man approached him and said, "Son, can you take me to the mosque? I don't have much time and my legs can no longer carry me." Yasir immediately helped him. As they walked, the old man asked, "Son, do you know what time is?" Yasir quickly replied, "Yes, it is the one thing that is the same for everyone." The old man said, "No, son. Time is something that everyone has, but not everyone uses it equally. He who understands time has moved ahead of destiny." When they reached the mosque, the old man vanished. The mosque door closed. Another voice was heard. "You have passed the first test." After passing the first test, as Yasir was about to set off for the second, he suddenly found himself in a bustling market where people were shouting. A woman was crying out, "My son is lost!" Without hesitation, Yasir offered his help and went in search of the boy. Yasir searched for the boy through many alleys. He heard many voices, but he could not find the child. After searching for a while, he finally found the boy crying near a drain. When Yasir returned the boy to his mother, the woman said, "If you hadn't come, I would have kept blaming my fate. But now I understand that a part of destiny is the arrival of a good person." As she left, everything vanished, and then that voice echoed again. "Yasir, your second test is also complete." For the third test, Yasir found himself in a desolate field. In front of him was a large door upon which was written, "Only he who has faith in himself may enter." Yasir paused there for a moment and thought, "Do I really have the courage to go inside?" Then Yasir said, "In the name of God," and opened the door. Inside, there was a large mirror. His reflection appeared in it, but the reflection asked him, "Do you have faith in yourself that you can answer Hakim Ali's questions?" Yasir replied, "I do not have faith in myself, but in my Lord who has brought me here." Upon hearing Yasir's answer, the mirror instantly shattered and a path opened. When he went down that path, he saw a garden. In the middle of the garden, an old man was sitting under a large tree. He had white clothes, a radiant face, and a light in his eyes. He was none other than Hakim Ali. Hakim Ali said, "Come, Yasir. You have succeeded in the first step concerning time and fate. Now your real lesson remains to be learned." Yasir greeted him respectfully and sat before him. Hakim Ali closed his eyes and said, "Yasir, your questions are great. Their answers are not direct, but I will tell you 3 stories. Each story will lift the veil on a truth. Remember, these stories are not just for hearing, but for feeling, because truth is understood by the one who listens with the heart." Hakim Ali began to tell Yasir the first story. A long time ago, there was a sultan named Sultan Hamid. He was very powerful, but also very arrogant. He considered time his property. He would always say, "I can have whatever I want, whenever I want it." In front of his palace, an old laborer would come every day to sell his wood. He came on time and left on time. The Sultan mockingly said, "Hey, old man, don't you think your time is up now?" The laborer smiled and said, "Your Majesty, my time is with me. I walk with it, but you consider it your slave." The Sultan was offended by this. He imprisoned the laborer. But one night, the Sultan came down with a high fever. All the wise men failed. Finally, the laborer was brought in. He only gave him warm water and recited some verses. Then he said, "Sultan, now your time demands an answer from you. You did not understand it, you only used it. Time wants respect, not commands." The next morning, the Sultan was well. He apologized to the laborer and said, "Today I have learned that there is nothing greater than time. Not the throne, not the crown." After telling the first story, Hakim Ali opened his eyes and asked Yasir, "What did you understand from this story?" Yasir said in a low voice, "I have learned from this story that he who does not understand time can never understand fate."
Then, Hakim Ali placed his staff on the ground and began the second story. He said to Yasir, "Son, this story is about a poor girl named Lila who was a trash collector. She spent her days picking up thorns, glass, and broken things, but there was never a complaint on her lips. People called her unfortunate, but every evening she would prostrate in prayer and give thanks. One day, the king's daughter fell ill. No treatment worked. Then a spiritual wise man said that a cure was possible if she was touched by the one with the worst fate. Many came, but failed. Then Lila was brought. When she held the princess's hand, she became well. Everyone was astonished. Lila simply said, I considered my fate not a hardship, but a blessing. Perhaps this is what pleased God. From that day on, the king made Lila his daughter. After the second story, Hakim Ali looked at Yasir and asked, "What did you feel in this story?" Yasir replied, "Fate is sometimes hidden not in our eyes, but in our actions. What we consider misfortune can sometimes be our greatest fortune." After the second story, Hakim Ali said in a somewhat stern tone, "Now, the story you are about to hear, son, could also be your own." With that, Hakim Ali began the story. There was a young man named Tariq. He was shown 3 doors. On the first door was written, "Choose time." On the second door was written, "Understand fate." On the third door was written, "Have intention, Tariq." Tariq went through the first door. There was a clock that was running fast. He understood that time waits for no one. In the second room, there were books, but they were all closed. He wanted to read, but he couldn't understand anything. Then a voice came, "Fate cannot be read, it must be felt." In the third room, there was only a mirror. It showed his face, but his eyes were lifeless. Then a divine voice came, "If your intention is not alive, then time is not yours, and fate remains silent. When intention awakens, time will walk with you, and fate will bear witness in your favor." After hearing the third story, Tariq opened his eyes and said, "Now I will walk on the righteous path toward God. I will no longer fear my fate, but embrace it." Hakim Ali told Yasir the final words, "Son, time is a book, and fate is its writing, but the pen is in your hand. What you write, you will read. What you sow, you will reap." Hakim Ali said, "Remember, Yasir, do not fight with time, walk with it. And do not fear fate, bow to it in submission. Then it will become your pleasure." Yasir was now mesmerized by the 3 spiritual stories of the wise dervish of Baghdad, Hakim Ali. Inside him, there were no longer just questions, but a light of answers had begun to glow. But as Hakim Ali was leaving, he said only one thing. "Now, when the real test of your life comes, only then will you understand what the true verdict of time and fate is." After hearing these 3 stories from Hakim Ali, when Yasir returned to his village, the first thing he heard was the silence of his mansion. At the large gate of the house, where servants used to stand, there was now a shadow of silence. As he entered, his mother came running, crying, and hugged him, saying, "Son, your father is very ill. The doctors have given up, and your brothers have sold all the business's goods and disappeared somewhere." Yasir's legs trembled, but then Hakim Ali's voice echoed in his mind, "If the intention is strong, time does not become an enemy, nor does fate bring sorrow." When Yasir tried to manage his father's business, he found out that his 2 brothers, Hassan and Mahdi, had sold all the documents and goods in his absence, taking some cash, and had settled in another city. Now Yasir's name was also tarnished in the eyes of the people. The wealthy people of the city did not trust him. Even the small shopkeepers in the market said his family had now become looters. What business would he do now? But Yasir gave no answer, because now he had learned not to fight with time. After this, Yasir started using his time correctly. During the day, he would read old documents and account books, and at night, he would take care of his father. Slowly, he opened a small shop where he conducted business only with honesty and transparency. After a few days of hard work, when the situation began to improve slightly, one night, his mother's health deteriorated. Before she passed away, she called Yasir to her side and said, "Son, your father's dream was that you would become the most righteous and honest businessman in this city. And remember, destiny is made by prayers, not curses. Forgive your brothers." Tears welled up in Yasir's eyes upon hearing this. He held his mother's hand and promised, "I will not complain about time. I will not fight with fate. Instead, I will trust in him, but I will never let my intention weaken. A few months passed after his mother's death. Yasir's business started running again. He was not rich now, but he had earned the trust of the people. At such a time, one day Hassan and Mahdi came before him ashamed. Their situation had left them with nowhere to go. Yasir embraced them and repeated his mother's last words, that he who forgives time, fate never leaves alone. The next morning, Yasir went to Baghdad again to meet Hakim Ali. When he told him his whole story, Hakim smiled and said, "Now the truth has been revealed to you. Time and fate are not enemies of each other, but companions. But what unites them is a person's good intention and patience." Then he placed his staff in Yasir's hand and said, "You are now a traveler of spiritual business. Go and tell others that the verdict of time and fate is to be faced not with a bowed head, but with your chest held high." This story teaches us never to take time lightly and not to have blind faith in fate. A person's success lies not only in their destiny, but also in their decisions made at the right time, their patience, intelligence, and hard work. This story also teaches us that time sides with the one who fights their circumstances. Trust in fate, but do not waste time. The words of the elders provide the light of truth. The real verdict is not made by time or fate, but a person's intention, wisdom, and actions write their story. If you liked our story, please like this video, share it, and be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments.